A lot of people have asked me how I make my famous pandan cake. So here's a step-by-step guide to how you can make it yourself. We'll start with the list of ingredients. 140 grams of self-raising flour, a quarter teaspoon of salt, 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of cream of tartar, 100 milliliters of coconut milk, 225 grams of caster sugar, 1 teaspoon of pandan essence, 112 grams of vegetable oil, and 6 nice large eggs. Now we're going to mix this using 3 bowls, and here's what goes into each. You can pause this if you like. Now here's the equipment you'll need to make the cake. I like to get all my things ready before I start. Mixing bowl and sieve, 2 more bowls, a spatula and teaspoon. The silicone spatula works really well for this. An electric whisk, a reliable set of scales, best if it has a 0 button on it, can opener, and a cake tin. Now it's important to get these with a hole in the middle so your cake can cook evenly through, and I'll put a link in the description for where you can get one of these. So let's start with bowl 1. First, sift 140 grams of flour into the first bowl, but make sure your scales are 0 before you rest the sieve on the bowl. It's vital to sieve the flour to be sure your mixture is really smooth. Add the salt, just 1/4 teaspoon of that. Baking powder goes in next, 3/4 of a teaspoon of that. You can push it through the sieve if it's a bit lumpy. Set that aside and start mixing the next bowl. Now here's where a little bit of skill comes into play. You need to separate the 6 eggs. The whites go in one bowl and the yolks in the other. When you're separating the eggs, be very careful not to get any of the yolk into the whites bowl. If you're not too confident with that, then separate the eggs out one at a time and then add to the bowl as you go. Now that way you'll only ever waste 1 egg if you burst the yolk. A teaspoon of pandan essence goes into the bowl with the yolks. The green colour comes from the leaves of the pandan plant, and it's not artificial colours at all. You should be able to get this at a Chinese supermarket, and I've put a link in the description to where you can buy it. 125 grams of caster sugar goes in. Now I've dumped my spoon in the bowl here, you'll see why in a moment. Be sure to 0 your scales before measuring out each ingredient. I'm adding 112 grams of sunflower oil. If you prefer to measure by volume, then it's 8 fluid ounces in old money. But as I'm measuring everything here on these scales, I prefer to do it all by weight to make things simple for me. Give it all a good mix. The pandan is quite sticky, so it all comes off in the spoon at this point. Best not to waste any. Next you need 100 grams of coconut milk or cream, and sometimes the solids separate out, so you need to give it a good mix. As you can see, this is quite a bad example, so I have to mix it up quite thoroughly. It's usually a nice smooth creamy texture. Get it nice and smooth with not too many lumps. I generally add about 1/4 of a can. That works really well. Mix it in, and you can squash the lumps with the back of your spoon. I left a few lumps here, but it doesn't seem to matter. Now add your dry mixture. I gave it a mix off camera first. Carefully combine all the ingredients. Now the spatula is great here, it gets all the mixture off the sides of the bowl. Put some elbow grease in here to get it nice and smooth. And set it aside when you're happy. I find that cake is slightly better if the green mix has rested for a while. And now go get your bowl of egg whites. Don't forget to reset. And now add 100 grams of the caster sugar. Half a teaspoon of cream of tartar. And give that a bit of a mix. At this point you'll want to make sure that your oven shelves are in the right position, so you're not faffing around at the last minute. And preheat to 150 degrees centigrade for a fan oven or 170 for conventional. Now whisk your egg whites. I usually start off slow to make sure the sugar is properly mixed. Bring on some more power to get those eggs up to stiff peaks. Keep mixing it gently. This can take a little while, so do be patient. Note that if you have got yolk in the mix, it won't stiffen. Starting to get there now. There, it'll hardly move in the bowl when it's right. One last mix of the green bowl can't hurt. Now carefully fold the egg whites in a bit at a time. Do this slowly and carefully so as not to knock air out of the whites. Take it nice and slowly. About 1/4 of the egg whites each time. Keep going very carefully, pulling the green mixture off the bottom of the bowl with the spatula. keep moving until it's a nice even colour with no streaks. Grab your cake tin, don't grease it, and slowly pour the mixture into the bowl. Be sure that your oven is properly preheated and put the tin in the centre of the oven. And now is a good chance to clean up all the mess you've made. You'll soon see the cake rise up to the top of the tin and let it cook for at least an hour. If it's not properly cooked, it'll sink. Don't be tempted to open the oven until you're sure it's done. The cake should be nice and golden brown on top, and when you take it out, invert the tin to avoid it collapsing under its own weight. It's very fragile at this point. Note the handy little feet on the tin. That's what they're for. Let it completely cool. I usually leave mine overnight. Separate the cake from the tin with a sharp knife and just slide it around. It should come out quite easily. Same for the top part. Slice with a good sharp knife and it's as light as a cloud. See how soft it is? And it's incredibly moist. Look at that. Slice it up and enjoy with a good cup of coffee. And there it is. I hope you found this useful, and if you liked it, do please hit the like button. Subscribe if you like, but I don't think you'll find too many cookery videos on this channel. Thanks for watching, take care, bye bye.